If a brand gives up some control to the creator who truly understands his or her audience the best, then that's where magic can happen.
Welcome to the Culture Creators series by Linqia. We are here live in Cannes at the Female Quotient Equality Lounge. We are talking with marketers and creators who are shaping culture. I am with Alyson Griffin, the head of marketing at State Farm. Welcome, Alyson.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so what's going on at Cannes? I heard you were shortlisted for a Cannes Lion for your work with Apple, but what brings you here?
Yeah, so State Farm, this is our second year attending Cannes. We're really excited. Of course, the creativity, the energy that we get, great ideas. It's just good for the marketer's soul. Yeah. But of course, we're here meetings, and we have a main stage presentation in the creator section.
Nice.
Yeah, so super excited about that. That's coming up this week.
Very cool. And then just set the stage. You were at HP for many, many years.
I was.
Then you were at Intel.
Yes.
How did your journey take you to State Farm?
Oh my gosh. I've been at State Farm for 4 years now. Although time is flying. It goes fast when you're having fun. But I never thought I would leave the Bay Area or the tech industry. But when State Farm called, there's such a prolific brand. And the issue that they needed solved was very similar to the issue that Hewlett-Packard and Intel had, meaning all three of those tenured companies, none of them have an awareness problem anywhere in the world that they do business, but all three of them have relevance issues. Yeah. HP makes its money with printers, ink, and I don't know, people don't print too much anymore. Intel is a silicon chip and a thing and a thing and a thing inside a product. And insurance is, nobody cares about insurance. Yeah. And so it's one of those marketing challenges that I find exhilarating.
Yeah. And then, so Jake, am I getting this right? Yeah. Instagram, you do have a presence as a brand, and Jake, TikTok, did you go completely into Jake?
Yes.
Why, and what does that kind of signal about what's happening in the world?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. So like I said, I've been here for 4 years now, and Jake has been around for 5 years. And so we've, the brand in general has leaned into that asset. We have 7 brand assets that we play with in the real world and online. Jake from State Farm is one of them. And he is only the personification of what it means to be a good neighbor. And so he's a human, and he lives and moves in the real world. He shows up to football games. He shows up to support Patrick Mahomes, Caitlin Clark. He walked Vogue World in Paris, things like that. So he is that personification as a real person, not a caricature or the butt of a joke kind of a mascot. And so we early on thought, look, he had always had Twitter and Instagram, and we thought, look, he is a creator in and of his own right. And it was before we ever spent a dime on TikTok from a media perspective. And we grew his following organically to over 1 million followers.
So wild.
Yeah.
So then that ties to the whole culture question. So it's a large company. You've worked in large organizations, and they have to reach mass consumers.
Yes.
But we're in a world with algorithms where everyone is in their own corner of the internet, exploring their own microcosm of content and culture. How do you, as a scaled brand, even know what is culturally relevant these days?
Oh my gosh, we have to be on the pulse of culture. I mean, I will admit, I am a TikTok scroller. I tell my family I do it for my job. But, watching, I don't know, crazy television shows and all that kind of stuff. But to be serious, we are in the business of meeting people where they are, because nobody cares about insurance. Nobody is seeking out, I wonder what my insurance carrier is doing today, right? And so for us, if we don't use media channels, creators being one of them, to attack, who we're trying to find in the wild, then we would fail.
Yeah.
So for us, we use things like Jake from State Farm. We use our jingle, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I won't sing it for you in this room, although maybe the acoustics would be good. But we use those online to try to break through, and placing media investments, including using creators as a media channel to be where our customers are. Because like you said, everyone has their own corner in the internet.
Yeah. So creators, influencers, are you using them, and it can be both, primarily for their reach and to get to the audience they have and the influence they have, or is it more of a content play to fuel the engine and the beast that you need to fuel?
It's both. And that's the thing that's really cool. So for us, primarily influencers started out as a media channel, probably for most brands. But the more we have given up some control, I like to say embrace calculated risks.
Yeah.
Insurance we're in the risk business. The most risk adverse type of company in the planet is an insurance company. So we're very old, been around 103 years, and we're very risk adverse. But if a brand gives up some control to the creator who truly understands his or her audience the best, then that's where magic can happen. And I'm actually speaking here on stage with Kai Cenat in the creator part of the Cannes main stage. And one of the things we're talking about is just that, is us giving up some control to him knowing his audience the most.
Yeah.
And it really is where magic happens.
Okay. What about trends? So some brands will try to hop on every trend and it works for them. Other brands, it becomes a distraction. Where do you fall in the chasing trends mentality?
We don't. So for us, we follow trends. We know trends. So an example of a great trend or one that we hoped would be, and it did, was Severance.
Yeah.
So before Severance season 2 even came out, we partnered with Apple TV. In fact, we're shortlisted for a Lion. Very exciting for us. But we just knew that would pop off.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
So it's not that we followed it. We had to film all of that before season 2 even launched. But we took that gamble as an example.
Yeah.
Kai Cenat is another one. He is the biggest streamer in the world. We play in the gaming space. We play in sports. He plays in both. And we're both trying to talk to the same audience. So it's not that we're trying to follow every trend, but we are trying to, we say, create conditions over time that allow a lightning in the bottle moment to happen.
Yeah, which does take leadership, direction, and strategy. So I do applaud that, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams, it takes patience.
Yeah.
It takes patience. It's easy to say we just want to plan for a home run and hit a home run. It's another thing to say we want to plan for an ecosystem that allows for home runs to happen, even though they're not going to happen all the time.
We say we like to eliminate random acts of marketing. So we're a mutual company, not that we'll go into that here. I promise I won't bore your viewers here. But a mutual company is not a stock public company. So we have the opportunity to take a longer view. Yeah. And that was something neat. My entire life, for almost 30 years, I was in the tech big brand public company. And to move to this mutual company, wherever I end up in my life, even in retirement, I'll now understand that there's an opportunity to take a longer view and not just do a trend and do a thing, but create these conditions. Yeah. I don't know if you saw a couple of years ago when Taylor Swift first came on the scene in football, when she started dating Travis Kelce. 1 week to the day later, we had Jake from State Farm sitting with Mama Kelce. Right. But the point there is Jake was already resonant in football. Travis had already randomly been in a commercial, Mahomes and Maato, him and Patrick Mahomes, and we already had a relationship that way. And Jake can believably sit inside a football stadium. Yep. And so when that happened, within 1 week, the team moved. So that's where catching a trend. Yeah. Creating the situation that made it believable that Jake would sit there with Mama Kelce. Yep. And then, but doing it, that was fun.
You built the foundation to allow for it. A lot of marketers want to build on top of a non-existent foundation. That's where you get in trouble. You have to build the foundation and then things can build from there. All right, I want to give you some data.
Okay.
69% of consumers trust influencers, friends, and family over information coming directly from a brand. How are you responding to a new reality where consumer trust of brands is at an all-time low and consumer trust of creators and influencers is an all-time high?
Yeah, lean in. Yeah. So almost every single campaign, I'm trying to think, I don't think there's one campaign that we've done in the last at least 3 years that hasn't included an ecosystem of creators. From micro creators, it doesn't have to always be the Kai Cenat numbers, although we do partner with him. But micro creators to go authentically catch an audience that, that audience trusts that creator. Yeah. And if you make a good connection with that creator, you can do some unlocking of magic there. Yep. And I think, the fact is AI is part of it. crawling the web, to pull information.
Yeah.
So for us, getting press coverage is also, so we lean into PR as much as leaned into creators, right? So just thinking holistically about what would influence somebody when they're searching or looking for, let's say, I need to buy my first auto insurance policy.
Yeah.
Who do I trust? Where do I go? So earned media, owned channels, influencer partnerships, I think all is a mix to kind of break through.
Okay. When you do these creator partnerships, creators and creator content used to be a social paradigm.
Yeah.
And now it's half the TV commercials I watch are TikTok and Instagram content on a full screen.
Yeah.
Billboard ads, display ads, all of it. Are you using creator content outside of social?
Oh my gosh. 3 years ago, I think we were really new on this trend. The Super Bowl was at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. And we had a big conversation about, do we run a Super Bowl ad that year? And, we talked to the team. I'm like, no, why do we need to buy a 30 or 60 second spot when we're for 4 hours our name is there already?
Yeah.
So what we did is we partnered with Kabi Lane, and he did a Super Bowl ad for us that was a TikTok in TikTok format. We ended up playing it on linear television purposely in TikTok format. I think we were one of the first brands, this was several years ago, to do something like that. So agreed that influencers have crossed over. We had 2 influencers in this year's, what would have been our Super Bowl campaign. We ended up moving it to March Madness because of the wildfires in California. So we went quiet for the Super Bowl. But in March Madness, would have been our campaign. There were 2 TikTokers in there. Kai Cenat, he's a Twitch streamer also, and Jordan the Stallion. So he was Commissioner Gordon in our Batman universe. And then Kai was playing himself. So the point, we had SZA, she was Catwoman. Jason Bateman, of course, was the foil to Batman. But the point is big, let's say Hollywood celebrity to music to 2, I'll call them TikTokers. That doesn't give Kai enough credit, but you understand the context here. Yeah. All of them were in our Super Bowl campaign.
It's an amazing lesson to brands of social content and creator content can go everywhere. It should not stay just on social media.
Right.
Creator content can live everywhere. All right, last question. We're going to do a quick fire round. What % of total budgets do you think should be going to influencer? Or said differently, do you think it is the right % right now? And if not, what is causing the balance between what brands are actually spending and what they probably should be spending?
You know what? I think, I don't know the %, but I'll say brands shouldn't be spending with creators, but they're making a mistake even if they only spend $1. If they're just thinking of it as transactional and checking a box of, I have to give money to a creator, it has to be part of my mix, just do it. Yeah. I think that's a mistake. I'd rather them spend $0 and not do something that is inauthentic and transactional, rather than think holistically about who you're targeting and that you're meaningfully using that channel, that person, to drive a conversation with a customer on the other end.
Yeah. Tactics are not there to just be tactics. If you don't understand what you're doing, you don't understand strategy, you don't have the DNA of the brand, it's impossible to do anything effective. So I really appreciate that.
And I think using influencers, to not evade your question, some portion of a budget should be with influencers.
Yeah.
But brands should really, really think about who they're targeting and why.
No, why? All right. Are you ready for a rapid fire lightning round? Yeah. What does your For You feed look like? If I take your phone right now, what am I going to be watching?
Sourdough bread making.
Really?
I swear to God, I am on that. I have been doing it. I bought my little Eve starter. Yeah. She's in my house right now. Actually, put her in the refrigerator while I'm here in France.
Okay.
I am on the sourdough bread making kick.
Since COVID?
No, recently. No. I did.
Late adopter.
Late adopter.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
If you were a creator, what would your content angle be?
I get sucked into all the cooking stuff. I'm not a good enough dancer to be doing the dance stuff, but I do watch some dancey things like that pop music, Molly Long choreography. Yeah. I've been all in on that lately.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'm going to admit this, card tricks.
Interesting.
Teach you how to do them. I never remember 10 minutes later, but
like magic?
At the moment, like magic card tricks.
Very interesting.
Crazy. I don't know what it is. It's the mathematical solving of them. The kind that work that aren't sleight of hand. They just work.
They just work. All right. You have an eclectic taste. I like that.
Thanks.
What advice would you give to someone starting their career in marketing right now?
I always give the same advice. Start in an agency. I say that because I started an agency, not because I did, but what I see the difference is agencies are really great incubators for early career people. There's early career people in them, not 55-year-old mothers of 24-year-olds. And all of the different business models you get exposed to, the different kinds of brands, different size of company. I think this just the exposure, you get a couple of years under your belt and then you really understand, ooh, I like this lane.
Yeah.
I think it's just really smart. And don't sleep on media. That was never, when I was, now this is in the 90s. Okay, that's when I entered the workforce. But everybody was like PR or advertising agency was sort of marketing.
Yeah.
But man, the media channel and how much it changes and is growing and how important it's going to be moving forward with influencers and other like consumer attention being distracted. I think the media discipline is going to be super important.
Yeah, that's a unique, I like both of those angles. And I think also young people don't understand, they know culture better than we do often. And so they have so much knowledge to contribute. You know, of course there's experience and everything that comes with experience, but they don't realize how much knowledge they have that is things we don't even have.
I'd like to say brands, pay attention to your agency partners who are staffed with these younger folks who truly do understand the world that's happening around us more than we do, I do. And really leaning into that agency partnership, I think is important.
Love it. Thank you for doing this.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And good luck today. Good luck this week.
All right. Yeah.